Welcome to another episode of I Wonder, Doctor.
Let's talk about the healthy bacteria that live with us in our own intestinal tracts.
This makes me think of yogurt and yogurt commercials.
Yes, and I was first shocked about this way back when I was in medical school.
Yeah.
When I learned that we had about 3.5 pounds of normal bacteria that lived in our intestinal tract, symbiotic with us, was mutually beneficial. And not only that, we needed them, and if we didn't have them, we would get into significant trouble.
So these are little critters living inside of us.
Little bacteria.
Yeah.
In fact, there's about 10 times as many bacterial cells, count number, now they're
Yeah.
real tiny, than
Yeah.
there are human cells.
Yeah.
And they line our intestinal tract, and they participate in the digestive process. They help digest protein, carbohydrate, and fat. They help process or produce even some of the vitamins. And these are very essential to us for another way as well. They protect us from outside invasion.
Yeah.
Like, think of a topsoil that has nothing growing on it, and you toss a handful of weed seeds on it.
Right.
In a very short period of time, you're going to see a flourishing weed garden out there. But let's say you picture a healthy lawn that's well established,
Yeah.
and you toss some weed seeds on that. They're not going to grow necessarily. You may see no weeds at all,
Right.
because the grass has its roots in the topsoil. It's already occupying the territory there.
Right.
In fact, I'd even like to illustrate that with you. You remember the intestinal lining cells and the spaces between them.
Yeah.
And what I didn't show you before was there is trillions of bacteria lining those intestinal lining cells. And let's say that we get an invasion from a critter that looks like this, for example, an amoeba.
Yeah.
Well, it wants a food supply, and it's wanting to burrow into those cells. And it can't do it because it can't make its way through this bacterial protection coat. And let's say that you lose that healthy bacteria protection coat. Now you get yeasts that are already there, but in small numbers. They're able to overgrow now because they can get access to food now that they couldn't get before. And same with any invaders like some amoebas or parasites or worms, stuff
Yeah.
like that. So that's unacceptable, and that's going to call forth the immune system just like it did before. And that denuded intestinal lining is vulnerable to infection, inflammation, leaky gut. It's the doorway to autoimmune illness. We're going to have a lot more to say about this.
Yeah.
Now, what do we do about that? Well, very important. First of all, very often we've got to assess it. And this is not going to be done by your local hospital lab, which is excellent at picking up on epidemics like E. coli or salmonella. There's only a few labs in the country that do these comprehensive stool and digestive analysis. There's even a lab that does genetic analysis of the bacteria and germs that could be in there. This is how sophisticated this has gotten.
Now, we're not going to be able to find these labs, right? We don't go directly
And
to
you
labs.
won't need to. And you need to work through a licensed health professional. This could be through a complementary physician, a nutritionist. There's lots of folks who are tuned into this because it's a common thing that happens to people.
Yeah.
And you can also get a very sophisticated analysis of how well you're digesting things. Now, there's other tests that can be done. For example, if bacteria are living in your stomach or in your upper small intestine where they shouldn't be, they're producing gas out this way.
Yeah.
And that can be measured. You blow into a container, and they analyze the off gas there, and they can tell you whether you have small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. Now, what do you do when you find these? Well, these stool tests, they're able to identify the abnormal critters that are there and also measure them against antibiotics and herbs that could kill them.
So we need to know what's in there that shouldn't be. Then we can know how to get rid of them, what things we can kill them off with.
Precisely.
Yeah.
You need to do a guided regimen to accomplish that.
Yeah.
And there's some dietary changes that are very important then, and we're going to get into this in future videos. And then one of the most significant things that anyone can do is replenish the healthy bacteria. You can pretty much assume that you would benefit by healthy flora. You've
Yeah.
heard the word acidophilus, many of you, and
Yeah.
there's many more that are very healthy for you. And supplement companies of all varieties, now there's the real excellent quality, there's the lesser quality, and we're going to help steer you towards the very best.
Yeah.
And everyone could benefit by replenishing flora because we've all had an assault in the system, and people have significant compromise there that will be identified by having significant health issues. You're going to really benefit by restoration of the normal, healthy bacterial gut flora.
There's a good chance that basically all of us grown-ups have some sort of imbalance in there, and we could all benefit from improving our little critters.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Well, great. Thanks.
You're welcome.